The technique we're going to be working on today is going to have certain footwork to it. So we're going to do a passing step followed by an adjustment step. Okay, the passing step is going to we're going to do it both forward and out to the side. Forward passing step, almost straight towards your opponent, back into your balanced stance. And then the adjustment step is going to be a small movement towards them. Okay, so once again, passing step, small adjustment step. When we get here, we're going to do a passing step from our other side. So now we're on our left side. We're going to do a passing step here, adjustment step. We're going to go the length of the floor, down, we'll stop, and then we'll come back. Okay? So passing step, adjustment step. Passing step, adjustment step. After each step, just try and always, go ahead. After each step, you want to be in your balanced stance. So once I make that step, I don't want to have to do any further adjustments. It should be balanced stance, balanced stance, balanced stance, balanced stance. So the reason I bring up the balanced stance, that I'm always returning to it, that's going to set your gait. That's going to set how big of a step you actually make. If I do a really huge passing step, then I'm not going to be balanced again. So let that gait be natural. Now we're going to switch it up. Instead of going straight towards the opponent, we're actually going to go out to the side at an angle. Okay, so this would be, doing an attack trying to get out to someone's flank. There's going to be a small added footwork to where before going straight, we wind up in our balanced stance immediately. With me going out to the side, I'm going to have to make a small adjustment with my back foot to get back into my balanced stance. So going at a 45-degree angle, the step is the same. Pivot off your front foot. But once I get here, my back foot is actually going to swing around behind me to rebalance me here. And then the adjustment step. So out to the side at an angle, small pivot with the back foot, and adjustment step. Same three on the lines. Let's go down. Put a little bit of space in between you so you don't run into each other. It's better to take your time and do it right. Go ahead. Than for us to have to reteach it later. Try and use your hips to generate this movement too. Don't make it just in your legs pushing off. Same rows. Let's go back. Coming up, Austin. Go ahead, guys.
Today we're doing the Zornhau, and specifically the Zornhau Ort, so the thrusting techniques from the Zornhau. So some of you guys have done this one already, some of you guys haven't, so that's okay too. It's going to be good repetition or good brand new stuff for some of you guys. The way we do the Zornhau is essentially just a diagonal Oberhau into our plow guard or our flute guard, right? So I'm not cutting all the way to the ground, I'm not cutting vertically or horizontally or anything like that. This is a very simple attack. It's one of the master cuts because it's really effective, not because it's complicated, right? So the whole premise of this cut is that I'm setting up a thrust. All right, this is why we did the footwork we did. We did the passing step and then an adjustment step to try to mirror what we're going to be doing in the class today, right? So I can use this as an attack. So if I'm fighting Josh, I can just do a Zornhau right at Josh. If I hit him with the cut, that's great. If not, I'm set up for an immediate thrust. Thrust from below, right? So it's a cut from above, thrust from below. And so just to make sure we're all on the same page with the cut itself, we're just going to spread out, do this as a solo drill. We're just going to do the attack itself, make sure we're all on the same page. So spread out, right? Yes, so when I say spread out, make sure you're not actually going to hit anybody, is what I mean by that. All right. So right now we're just doing the solo drill. So we're cutting down and then immediate thrust. Good. So we're cutting across the body. The sword's crossing the plane of your body to the other side. And it's immediately setting up a thrust. Very good, very good. Good, good. Now don't let your point go all the way down, Ben. want to make sure that as we do the cut, we're cutting through the other person, right? So if we hit them with a cut, it would actually cut them. But we don't want our point to go down. We want your point to stay up so that you can immediately thrust forward. Yeah, good, good, good. So imagine your thrust going into their face or their neck hole. Always the neck hole, right? Good, 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 good. This would work from either side, but it always assumes you're doing it from your strong side. Now when you're thrusting, you're doing everything just right. When you're thrusting, it's not so much with the bend of your arms. Most of the thrust is actually coming from that little step forward and from the shoulder. So if you're going to move your arms with the thrust, I'd rather you move your whole arms and not just bend it to your elbows, because it's going to weaken your position a little bit. So instead of doing this, bring your whole arms up a little bit, right? Bend at the shoulder. Yeah, 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 there you go. Now you just stab the guy right through the back of his head, so. Good. Oh, we killed each other. Oh, isn't that? The Zornhau Ort, however, is not usually talked about on the offensive side, but it's more often talked about the defensive portion of it, all right? So what do I mean by that? With Josh is attacking me, this is a way I can block his cut from above besides just winding into one of my defensive guards. So if he's attacking me with a cut from above, he's aiming at my head, he's aiming at my upper opening, I can actually cut from above into his sword and immediately set up the thrust from here. All right, so a couple things to consider here. I'm cutting down at an angle. So what that does, it lets me hit his sword a little on his flat side of it. So if he's trying to attack me, all of his strength is lined up in this plane with his edge. Everybody see that? So Josh can be really strong here, like just push. He can be really strong on his edge, but he's gonna be really weak on his flat. You can only be strong in one direction at a time, right? So as I'm cutting diagonally, I'm hitting more on the flat of his sword, right? I can also emphasize this by, instead of stepping directly at him, I might step out to the side a bit. All right, everybody see that? Cutting more flat. I also want to make sure that I want to be strong in this bind, all right? So when I'm cutting with the sword, I'm not going to cut all the way back into this type of plow here, because what part of my sword am I blocking with? I'm blocking with the weak of my sword, right? So when I say we're cutting into plow, that doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to have my hands withdrawn here. I want the strong of my sword on his sword. So if that means my arms are extended, that's fine. Everybody with me? Once we're here, if I'm strong on his sword and he's weak, I would immediately thrust from here. Josh is not wearing a mask right now, so I'm not actually going to stab him in the face, but that's what I'd be going for, yes. So in this case, I can either stab just past him, or I can just pop him in the shoulder or in the chest, or in the neck hole. Right, but even that I have to do it soft, right? All right, so I'm going to do it to you first. So you're attacking me with an Oberhau, right? So I'm cutting into your sword, right? And then I'm trying to set up an immediate thrust. Depending on where your sword is and how we're bound together is going to depend on what I do follow up as a follow-up attack. Okay. So in this first one, you're just going to cut right at me. I'm cutting against your sword. I'm trying to get strong on your sword. So if I'm strong on your sword, I can instantly thrust you right from here. So right now I'm in plow. All I have to do is just drop my point down a little bit and I can thrust you right here. That makes sense? All right. If my hands are higher or lower, you might have to change the angle of your thrust, right? But it should make sense. So I'm going to attack you, all right? Yeah, that's good. So I'm attacking you. You're going to cut into my sword, and like right here, you're already set up. No, so you don't even have to wind up. You just want to thrust right from it. Yep. Okay. If you're already strong on the sword, you want to do as quick a thrust as possible, right? Okay. Yeah, so you're going to thrust right from there. Good. Good. As soon as you can feel that you're strong here, right?
Yeah.
You can feel that I can't stop you, so that's why you would come in right with a thrust.
Okay.
Now, if we end up closer, you might actually hit me with that cut, right? So if I came a lot closer, this might actually cut me here, or if we're in this case here, maybe you come over with a cut from there. It's the same concept though, right? But you're trying to set up that thrust. Yeah, good.
So much more confident in his strikes. I love it.
He really is. He's been coming a lot. He's been working his butt off. He's paying attention. Good. Again, let me see it. Good, good.
And also not thrusting me in the face, which is really
That's even better. That's even better. Nice. That was good because you ended up instantly strong in the bind, right? So these swords slide a little bit, but you want to be strong right off the beginning. That way you can thrust right away. And he's either going to get hit or he's going to have to go so far in defense that it's going to be to your advantage. So. All right, guys, we're going to move on to the next step. So this is what we do if we do the Zornhau, we're immediately strong in the bind. All right, so Josh, come on down here. So I know you've done this before. So you're just going to be my opponent today.
We're always fighting here.
We're always fighting. Yeah. There's a lot of bad blood between us, right? All right. So we just covered what to do if, while doing the Zornhau, you're instantly strong in the bind. You have control, so you just attack. You just come right in with a thrust. If Josh is strong, so if Josh attacked me with an Oberhau and I come in with a Zornhau, but for one reason or another he ends up strong in the bind, or we end up equal, I don't want to thrust from here because if I thrust Josh from here, he's either going to set it aside. It's going to be easier for him to set it aside, or he may just hit me at the same time. Right? If we both go to attack him or even, we both end up getting hit. So he's attacking me with an Oberhau. I come in with a Zornhau. He's strong. Before I can attack, I actually need to wind up into Ox. Right? So I wind up into Ox. I'm bringing the strong of my sword up toward the weak of his sword, and then I can set up the thrust comfortably from here. Right? So a couple things to keep in mind. As I become strong on his sword, I take control of it. So what I don't have to do, what I see some guys doing, if I'm winding my hands up, I don't have to try to come around his sword, right? As I'm moving up, I'm the stronger one, so I just push his sword out of the way. Everybody see that? So I'm the one that's stronger. Even if Josh is stronger than me, my sword is stronger. So I can shove his sword out of the way to set up my thrust from above, right? As we're doing this, Josh needs to trust me enough to block his attack, because one thing I was having trouble with the youth is that they're afraid to actually cut at the other person. So if Josh just cuts at the air in front of me, it makes it really hard to like why isn't the technique working? It's like, well, because he wasn't attacking you. You should have just let him miss and then kill him, right? So trust your opponent enough. Do it slowly at first to make sure you're both on the same page, but trust your opponent enough to actually attack toward them so that you can create the proper angles. So from here, I'm going to wind up. Now, once I get up here, remember the footwork we did today. Once I get up here, I don't have to just thrust with my arms or lean forward. The strongest thrust I can do from here is actually with an adjustment step. So I stay really strong in this bind here in a really strong position, and I'll just thrust with my foot, right? So I'm moving my whole body weight forward. That's going to run the sword right through him. And it almost feels like I didn't do anything, right? So that's a couple things to keep in mind. Any questions on that?
Looks like when you do that wind, you're coming up on your short edge.
Yes, thank you. That's the other thing I forgot to mention to my youth class once again. So we're in this position here. When I'm moving up into Ox, I'm not just lifting my hands up like this because it puts my wrist in an awkward position. I'm actually going to wind. So I'm going to turn, my long edge is against the sword right now. I'm going to turn my short edge against his sword out to the side. This is going to be a more comfortable position. And if not, you'll learn to make it comfortable because it works better, right?
You're going to love the comfort.
Now when you wind up, don't just lift your hands up like this, because if I just lift my hands up like this, her sword's going to slide down into my hand. So I'll stab her in the lung, but I'm gonna get cut on the finger. So what I'd rather do, you're actually going to wind your sword over so that your short edge is against her sword. Okay? So you're going to turn your hand all the way over. All right? Yep. So keep a looser grip on your sword, so don't hold it so tightly. Hold it more in your fingers so that you can actually turn the sword a little bit. Yeah, there you go. So you're going to wind your sword up. Make sure you get this cross guard out to the side a little bit. That's going to be better. So try that. There you go. So right now you're coming in with more of a cut at her. So let's try to maintain that thrusting range. So when she's attacking me, I'm going to cut in here. When I wind my hands up, I'm not winding toward her like this. I'm going to wind my hands up so that I can keep my point in front. All right? So you're on the defense. You actually control the range because you can take like a deep step toward her. You can take a step out to the side. You can take just a smaller step. All right, so you can control the range. So you're going to try to stay a little further apart than what you've been doing. Just a little though. All right. Now once you wind up here, then just push your sword out of the way and get your point back down. Okay. All right, you got it. You're doing it correctly. There you go. Go ahead and set up the thrust though. You're stopping before you actually finish. I want you to get in the mindset that you're actually
So one thing at a time.
accomplishing it. Yep.
There are 3 points where you could hit me in this, right? You
Right.
could hit me with a cut, so I'm coming at you, you're defending. You could hit me with that cut, but you don't. So you're gonna go, oh, maybe I should thrust you, but you can't because we're even. So you wind,
All right. So wind up.
and now you hit me there. 1, 2, 3. So if we do it in those steps, then you'll stay in the same
Yeah.
right position all the way through.
Now, don't walk around his sword though. You have control of his sword. You push him out of the way. You shouldn't have to move around him. You're going to make him have to move around you later. All right? Wind your hands up. Now you push his sword out of the way. Yeah. So ideally, I know you're missing him on purpose right now, but really you'd be thrusting him over here. Right? You're just going to shove his sword out of the way and stab him right there. Yeah. So that's going to be much scarier for him. Yeah. Make sure you're attacking toward him. All right? Because right now you're starting to pull back a little bit. You're already getting on the defensive a little bit. So pretend that you don't know he's going to stab you in the face. There you go. Because now it's going to let him feel the strength that he has in the bind. All right? Good. And then once you're here, you're strong, but you don't want to, then you would want to come in a little closer maybe to set up the thrust. You're getting it, man. You're getting it. It's good.
It's just a lot of steps.
You're still new. Don't be hard on yourself.
That's good. Look
Look
at
at
that.
that was it right there. That was it. That was good.
Right in the heart.
That's right. Yes. Yes. Very good. Very good. Look at that. Look at that. He came in with some confidence. He was like, psh. He was like, psh. All right, that was good. That was good. Do it one more time, Ben. And Austin. That was good, man. Brand new guys, like really coming in with some strength there. You're about to stab the other guy in the face. All right? Congratulations. You're about to stab him in the face. You've made some good decisions up until this point. Right? However, if the other person is fast enough, he might actually try to block your stab to the face. He's probably going to want to. If you're fast enough, if you have enough speed and you just got in there fast, the fight's over. If, however, he blocked it, you're going to have to go into something else. So there's a couple different things he could do. We're going to focus on just one of them today because it's going to stay with the thrust, which is kind of the theme of the day. So we're going to hit the Zornhau again next week, and it's going to be more of the cuts that you can do from the Zornhau. Oh, snap. Yeah. So we're in the same situation. Josh has attacked me. I've defended. I'm not strong enough, so I wind up into Ox. I'm going to thrust him in the face. So one of the things he can do is just raise his hilt up to block my thrust. Right? Everybody with me so far? So what do I do from here? He's defending his upper opening. So where should I take the fight? I don't want to fight him where he's strong. Where do I fight him? Low. Fight him low, yes. And so in this case, I'm going to do the smallest, quickest possible move. I'm just going to flip my point underneath. I'm going to stay in Ox. I'm going to flip my point down, and I'm going to thrust between his arms to either his neck or his chest here, right? So I'm going to keep my hands high. It's going to keep my protection there because his sword's high, so I want to stay in my Ox guard. So I don't want to do this. So we're here. He moves up high, so I go like this. Aha, I stabbed him, but what's he going to do? He's going to go, oh, and chop me in half, right? And then I say, I got there first, and that. So that was good. That was a popular one, yeah. So what am I going to do? I'm going to stay in Ox. As he moves up, I'm going to flip my point down. I'm going to keep my hands up high. This is going to keep my defense in place, but then especially once I stab him, now there's a barrier between myself and him, and he actually would have to cut through his own hand to be able to reach me there, right? Especially if I already thrust him, because if my sword's here, he might just take a slice to his arm and push my sword down, but if it's already sticking in him, like, he can't push it down anymore. That make sense? All right. So another, that's right. Bad decision on his part, yeah. So a couple other things. The fastest way for me to bring it down is actually just to wind my point around his arms. I can pull it back, but this is a slower motion. It's going to give him a window of opportunity to come around. So once again, I'm using feeling, right? We talked about feeling earlier. We're here in the bind. I feel like I'm not strong, so I wind up to become stronger. I feel him moving up, so I move my point underneath. And then I don't lean forward and unbalance myself to thrust. I'm going to step forward and thrust him here. A couple other things, depending on what your opponent does, depending on the positions he's in, I might not be able to get between his arms like that. He may have his arms off to one side. I'm just going to go to the first available opening. So if Josh, if you like wound over to like an ox, like kind of sideways on me like that, right? So I'm winding to thrust you. If he winds over like this, I can't get between his arms. Well, I'll just go underneath, to his side. I'll go to his belly, to his side, whatever I can do. It's the same to me. If I don't get exactly the way the text describes, depending on what the other person's doing, you just go to the next opening, all right? There's probably something I forgot to explain, and we'll cover that at the end. But is there any questions so far? All right, and so you're going to wind up into ox. If he moves his hands up, you're going to flick your point underneath. Don't drop your hands, though. What did I tell you? So don't drop your hands. You're going to keep your hands up high and just bring your point down. That's all right. That's all right. All right. All right, so as we're doing it, so let me do it with him. So if he's attacking me, I'm going to defend here. Oh, hold on a second. I'm winding up here. Once he winds up here, I'm going to thrust him right here. I'm keeping my hands up high, right? Right above my head. Yeah, because his sword's up above me. I want my sword defending wherever his sword is.
Totally protecting my head. Especially since I'm tall.
Yeah, so this is going to be a variation on Ox because he's not attacking me from the side anymore. His sword's above me. So I'm not going to have my sword out here. My sword's going to be blocking where his sword is. So come over here, man. Stop hiding. So that was all good, except you didn't thrust him, right? So once you get in there, you're gonna step in and thrust him then, right?
I'm going to switch it up and do a sideways defense.
No, step in. You can't reach him, can you? So what do you have to do? Get closer. You're gonna step in closer and thrust. All right. What are you trying to do? You're trying to thrust him in the chest, right? So, we're here. I wound up. He's moved his hands up. I'm going to thrust right in here. I'm stepping right at him, like this. I want my sword right against his arm so that he can't move his arms down. Particularly with that thrust at the end. The closer you get, the actually safer you are. Actually, oddly enough, because if you actually thrust him and get in close, he won't be able to get his arms down. So, yeah, so you don't want to get close too soon, because then you can't get your point in place, right? But if you find yourself like right at the furthest range, I mean, I would get in even closer. It would be a little more protected at the end there. And even more so if your point actually went through him. So I know I know we can't do that. Not too soon. Not too soon. Don't forget about step one. It's hard to, you have to pretend like you don't know what she's about to do.
It's very difficult.
Yeah, that's good though. That's very good. You're going to move your hands up into ox. Now you're strong in the bind, right? You're coming over here to try to block, to try to set up your thrust. He moves his hilt up. You're going to bring your point down, and you're going to thrust right between his arms like this.
Yeah. See, now I can't really.
Right, because now your hands are high protecting your head, but really your sword is there actually blocking, physically blocking his arm.
Into that.
Yes.
Okay. That
Yes.
helps.
It's going to help also to try to make sure you have step one and step two properly lined up. So don't skip ahead to step three, right? So right there, that was a terrible Zornhau. This is why, all right, this is why step three is not working, because you're not doing a Zornhau, you're doing this, right? This is not what we're doing. He's throwing an attack at me. This is what I'm doing. I'm over here. I'm not strong enough, so I wind up, I'm over on this side of him, right? I'm not over here trying to set up an angle here, right? You need to make sure that you're getting the proper setup in the beginning. This is what usually happens when we have like a three-step thing. We kind of skip over step one a little bit. All right. So you're going to wind over into Ox and try to get control of this. Then he's going to come up. Then you come underneath like that. That's better, man. That's better. There you go. There you go. That's looking better, Ben. That's looking better. All right. Do it a couple more times, because now you're in the flow, right? Now you got to figure it out, so do it a couple times. So David winds up. You really scared Ben. Ben's like, I'm actually going to die. He's trying to break the ceiling. No, you're fine. You're fine. That's why we're doing it here where there's no lights. So really defend your head. All right, so you know what he's going to do, but pretend that you don't. He's about to thrust you in the face, so what are you going to do? This? I mean, you're going to shoot your sword up there to block your face, and so that's going to let him.
Well, I guess curving it.
Well, yeah, you don't have to go like this. Yeah.
Breaking through the ceiling.
It's just a little pro tip there. You don't have to keep your sword vertical. There you go. Good. Good.
See, when I'm actually threatening you, you almost have to do the right thing.
Yeah. One leads to the other, yeah. That's good, that's good. So that's why, even when we're doing a 3-step process, it's not step number 3 that's important, right? You have to get in the proper situation first to like force his response.
I'm just going to put a lot of emphasis into the first thing, basically.
Yeah.
Full time, unless you.
It's hard, in your case, it's hard to, on the opposite side of the drill, the person who's not doing the Zornhau, because you have to try to not anticipate what he's going to do. You know what he's going to do, but if this was a fight, you wouldn't know what his response would be. So you have to kind of like clear your mind. I'm just going to attack him, and then, and then he does the Zornhau against me, and then I have to at least pretend like I'm reacting to it. On step 2, right, when you're winding up into Ox. So we're in a bind here, right? So I want to become strong on her sword, right? If all I do is this, nothing has changed, okay? So when I wind it up into Ox, I want to actually move up on her sword, because that's going to create that threat that she has to block, right? So this usually happens. We do step 3, you forget about step 2, right? But if the threat of the thrust to her face is not sufficient enough, she's not going to block it, or she's just going to block it with something else. Right, so let's make sure that when you do the winds, it's not just moving your hands into position, you're moving your sword into position on her sword to come in here, and then she's going to block. And she's going to be like, oh crap, he got me, right? Other than that, it looked good. Yeah, other than that thing you did horribly, everything else looked great. So. No, that looked good there. I kid. That one looked good. Yes. Very good. There you go. Now he has to block. Now you're in a position to do that. Yes, one leads to the other. So yeah, when you wind up in Ox, remember, you're the stronger one. He's taller than you. He's probably physically stronger than you, but not when your sword's like this on his.
Leverage.
You have the leverage, yeah. So make sure you have leverage. Right now you don't, right? So maybe you need to do an adjustment step to get closer. Because if you get closer, what happens to your sword? All right, do an adjustment step closer, right? You get a little closer, now you're strong.
Now I'm correct.
Yeah, and then you can come around, all right?
I'm going to work on that at home.
Now, I like doing this with different partners and stuff because everybody moves a little differently, because it's not going to be exactly the same. The way he cuts is going to be a little different than how some other people cut. And so if I'm here, to get my sword onto, the weak of his sword, I might have to move my hands vertical like this.
But that's still threat.
But that's okay, yeah. But then I'm still in position to do that. If he had his hands lower, so cut like this, right? Well, then maybe all I have to do is this, into like eye level, right? I can change the height, I can change what I need to do, but the key here is setting up the proper bind on the sword. So, doing good, man. Cool. Any questions, concerns, regards, disregards from that?
We're awesome.
You really were. So that's why I didn't. I tried to teach a little bit just to make you feel like you were getting your money's worth, but